Hey guys, this is Dustin with Get Some Dirt Time. I'm coming to you from the basement because I was down here just trying to clear my head. I had kind of a stressful day, and one thing I do to clear my head, because it doesn't take much thought, is I've got a board set up. I have a couple of throwing knives that I throw at it and a couple other knives that I throw at it just to mix things up a little bit. And I wanted to bring up the point, and I suppose I could call this a rant, but everybody who's wanting to put throwing knives in their kit. Now, a knife like this is a little Jack Ripper 440 stainless. You know, it's made in China. Okay, I mean it's got some uses. It's got a belly on it, so it'll be a decent skinning knife. It's got kind of a clip point, so you know you can get under there and do what you got to do. And you know it's. I know people are cringing because I used a hammer, a ball peen hammer on the back of the knife, but once again, this is not damaged at all from that, actually, which is kind of shocking. But this is my thinking knife. So you just witnessed that you can baton small diameter stuff with it. You can process, you know, I've just abused it, and you get some soft wood like pine or something. Gives you some nice curls for tinder, stuff like that. So, why am I against bringing specifically throwing knives into the woods? One or two, so you have something to pass the time, or backups. That's one thing. Relying on a throwing knife in any circumstance is ridiculous. Once again, in my opinion. Like I said, I have throwing knives. Don't get me wrong. I know how to. I've been throwing knives since I was 10. I've got two of the Jack Rippers. That buddy I always talk about gave me these. Appreciate them. I like these a lot better than these other ones. I have 4 silver wings. Just the little set of 3 willow leaves. These are okay. I liked them at first, and then I started throwing these. I don't like them so much anymore. And then I have this one. This was an anniversary present from my now wife. It's, I don't know if you guys can see this, but it is a Gilhibben. This thing straight out of the box was razor sharp. It's a lot of fun. I've thought about cutting off that little hoo-ha on it and carrying it around like a double-bladed hatchet, but I don't think that's going to happen, to be honest with you. So, back to my point. Like I said, I've been throwing knives since I was 10 years old. Okay, I'm 35 now. Do the math. But, one point I want to bring up. I don't think y'all can really see that very well, can you? Well, what you can't see very well is the very tip has got a little bend in it. I'm going to have to fix that. I don't really know how yet, but it's going to have to get fixed. That's my first point. You get these colder than, I would say, probably anything under 30 degrees freezing temperature. You try and throw something like this into any kind of tree or anything, and you're going to risk breaking the tip off. Yes, they do have the clip point for added strength and for penetration, but still. And now, if you got one of those big deals that, you know, Dave Canterbury showed throwing, there's a good chance that won't break. But let's face it, when people are talking about throwing knives, generally they're talking about little things like this or these willow leaves. I challenge anybody who wants to throw a knife to throw 100 times. And if you can hit what you're throwing at 100 times out of 100 times, then that's pretty good. I mean, that's very good. I'm not even going to lie. That's very good. Then, get you something about this size. That's about 3 inches across, or this about the size of her fist. If I'm not mistaken, I do believe, like, most, well, okay, if you throw a knife at a deer, you need to get slapped. That's all there is to it. Are there people out there that can do it? Probably. Am I fooling with them? Absolutely not. But these, to get to the point where you could be, to make these a viable tool, you would have to practice borderline obsessively every day, every night, every hour. If you aren't eating, sleeping, or doing whatever you got to do to eat and sleep, you should have a knife in your hand throwing it at something. It's just this day and age, no one has that time anymore. Even I don't even know how theoretically it was a viable source of defense and attack and whatever way back in the day. Personally, I don't believe it, because A, most people back in the day, if they had a weapon that was high enough quality to penetrate into somebody far enough to do any kind of damage, valued that weapon more than a horse. I mean, that would be an expensive tool. So why would they throw it around? Why would they risk the impact? And if you're trying to throw anything with a handle, I do not recommend that. Because every time it hits, these knives have flex in them. Okay? So every time it hits, you've got like a shockwave that goes up the tang of the blade into the handle. And that's rattling all kinds of stuff loose. I mean, better yet, okay, my shooters out there, I know a lot of guys who are seriously into their shooting. They'll do things like run in a circle, dive on the ground, and then try and take a shot to simulate anxiety with heart rate, heavy breathing, hand tremors, stuff like that. Do that with a knife. You know, run around in a circle, get your heart rate up, or get nice and sweaty, and then try and hit what you're trying to throw at. You know, trying to hit what you're throwing at. It's then they've got these shows of these guys who are doing push-ups and throwing a knife, and then push-up and throwing a knife, and this guy that's running under a rope and like diving under a rope and jumping up and throwing a knife. And if you look at the ground that they're on, they have done that a lot. Those are set patterns that they have done over and over again. I'm sure someone's going to comment or something. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. I can do this, and I can do that, and I can do this. And it's, you ask any soldier who has seen combat, what happens to the loudmouth punks that always talk about, oh yeah, I'm going to do this, that, and the other. Chances are, a lot of times they're the ones that are pissing themselves not knowing what to do. Because in that situation, you have no idea how you're going to react. Take a knife, take 3 targets. Have someone call off targets. You know, at varying distances, one hanging up, one over here, one behind you, and then just try and hit the varying targets. Don't measure the target out. When you think you're good enough to take one of these out in the woods and kill you something with it, do this drill. Don't even measure the targets out. Just set them up, stand in the middle of them, and have someone call off targets and see how many times you actually hit your target. Now, I'm not talking about the little sucker stick where it hits and then falls out. I'm talking about hits and stays. The difference between a good throw and a bad throw is half a step. I mean, if you're off even a half a step, your throw is junk. I mean, I've been throwing from the same spot for 5 years now, and I still miss from that spot because I'm not exactly where I should be. And then comes the time, then comes the knowledge of how to judge where to hold the knife. Do I hold it at the tip? Do I hold it at the handle? Do I throw it sideways? Do I throw it the widthways? I mean, do I throw it underhand? I mean, there's all kinds of other things out there that you never even thought about. Bottom line, if you're looking for a knife to take out in the woods as a simple backup, and you're going to be camping for like a week or something and want something to pass the time, go ahead, pack you a throwing knife. Pick you guys out a tree, have a good old time, get a bunch of friends. If you want to learn how to throw knives, do it. I mean, it's a lot of fun. It's very relaxing. What I recommend is getting more than 3. Definitely getting more than 1. Your cardio will be great, but I know a lot of people will say, well, throwing one at a time will make you concentrate harder and it'll make you improve fat. No, it won't. Because what's going to happen is you're going to throw that one, you're going to walk down, you're going to pull the one out of the target, or more times than not, pick it up off the ground, walk all the way back to where you were, and start all over again. I recommend developing the muscle memory first. Get as many as you can. Get 2 or 3 packs of these guys and just go to town. And then you can tweak a little bit at a time until you start getting that rhythm. And once you get that rhythm, you got to remember what you're doing. How am I standing? How's this feel? How close am I starting it to my ear? How hard am I throwing it? Am I putting spin on it? Am I giving it a little flick, or am I just letting it leave my hand? These are all things you got to think about when you're practicing. Now, I'm not even going to get into the different types because I throw all kinds of different types of knives. I mean, I throw these 3. I throw these 2. I've got 2 folding knives that I throw that are identical to each other. I got a boot knife that I throw. I've got a kitchen knife with a busted hilt that I throw, and I've got a little stiletto that I throw. Why do I throw them all? Because I don't like walking back and forth. And you will do that a lot. If you guys have any questions, comments, anything, put it, hit it down below. Like, share, subscribe. I'm Dustin. You're watching Get Some Dirt Time. See you guys next time.